Hi guys, welcome to the instructional cleaning video for the Melvin MicroLab. Please watch through this entire video at least once before you go ahead and do the cleaning in case there's anything that you may think you know but might have changed since last semester. If you want to, you can skip to the certain sections. There will be timestamps in the description for each section on what to clean. Everything should be in this video, but if you have questions, we will leave any frequently asked questions in the description below. Or if your question is not listed there, feel free to reach out to one of the grad students or Dr. Melvin to answer your question. So we have this sheet on the fridge that lists all of the cleaning tasks you will be responsible for completing. There's a description under each task, so feel free to reference this as well as the video if you have any confusion about anything you're doing. There's also this checklist that Riley 3D printed. So if you're working in teams and you want to split things up, you can feel free to move these little markers and be able to tell what your team has already completed. Additionally, we have this sheet right here that you can write down anything you might need or realize we're running low on as you clean. So this would be pipette tip refills, pipette tips. It might also be ethanol. That's a huge one because we need 2 to 3 weeks in advance to get more ethanol. You're also able to fill out this sheet with anything you might need throughout the week or throughout the semester as you run low on your research. It is the expectation that you complete absolutely everything on this list. That means filling all tip boxes and autoclaving absolutely everything that we need to autoclave and refilling all of the 70% ethanol spray bottles to the max in both this room and the microscope room down the hall. It's also recommended that you clean any time from Friday morning until Monday before 9 a.m. so that way the lab is ready to go for the week ahead. So the first cleaning task is to fill and autoclave all of the empty tip boxes, which we keep right here, but may also be scattered about throughout the lab. You can get the tip box refills from this bottom cabinet. They have the P1000s here. Earlier we saw the P200s, and these are the P10s. To fill the P10s and the P1000s, you have to just open the tip box and put each tip in one by one. For the P200s, these are easier to refill. You kind of just put that whole thing in there. And then for the P1000s, it's the same as the P10s. Next, we're going to grab all of the glass or plasticware on the rack and we're going to autoclave it. We're also going to autoclave the tip boxes at the same time. So Riley grabbed some aluminum foil from the top shelf. She's ripping it off into an appropriate size to cover the top of whatever we are autoclaving. She's also going to grab some autoclave tape. This tape will turn to have black stripes when it interacts with steam, so we're able to tell what we have and have not autoclaved. And she's going to just stick that on everything we are planning to autoclave. Next, she is going to turn the autoclave on and turn the dial to the right to fill water. You're only ever going to turn this dial to the right. We're going to see where you need to fill water. It's up to that line right there. Once we fill the water to that line, we're going to go once again to the right and go to the sterilize setting. Next, she is going to place all of the glass or plasticware that we need to autoclave and turn the door and make sure it's very tight. This autoclave has a couple of knobs. You are going to turn the timer to 30 for a dry cycle or 1 hour for a liquid cycle. Do not touch the middle knob. The autoclave runs on steam, so you want to make sure that this has enough water in it. The water needs to be filled all the way to the coils at the bottom, so that way the autoclave does not burn up. After your autoclave cycle is done, you're going to turn the knob to dry and watch the pressure go down. Once the pressure is down, you can release the door and take everything out. Lastly, you're going to fill out this sheet with all of your information so that way we know when to clean the autoclave next. Next task is to clean all the counters with ethanol. This is pretty intuitive, but just wipe down all of the counters in this room and the microscope room with ethanol very well.
Next, we are going to make our 70% ethanol solution to fill all of our spray bottles and squirt bottles throughout the lab. We're going to grab this, which is 100% ethanol, release the pressure at the top, and fill it to about 1,400 milliliters of ethanol in this container. If you're not using this container, you may have a different amount of ethanol, but just make sure you calculate it to be 70%. After we pick the container of 100% ethanol up, we're going to fill the rest of the volume with DI water. Once we have made our 70% ethanol solution, we're going to fill all of the bottles. Please fill all of the bottles completely throughout both this room and the microscope room, so that way we have enough ethanol to last everybody throughout the week. You might have to make multiple rounds of ethanol, which is totally fine. In the rare event that you have extra, you can put it in this container and store it in the flammable cabinet. Next, we are going to restock the biosafety hood. So Riley is raising it to the sash height and then waiting for the blower to stop. Next, she's going to go ahead and refill the pipettes in the biosafety hood. These are where the pipette refills are. They're labeled to 5, 10, and 25 is this last one. If any of these drawers are empty, you can find refills at the bottom cabinet. So now she is going to take some 10 milliliter pipettes, which we often run low on. She's going to spray them down very well with ethanol and stick them into their place in the biohood. You may have to refill the biosafety cabinet with additional autoclaved supplies, which we keep on this shelf. She is going to refill with some Eppendorf tubes that have been autoclaved in this jar. She sprays it down with ethanol, places it in the biohood, and then at the end, she is just going to spray down the entire biohood and wipe it from the back to the front, and then close the sash. She will get the UV light on and she's good to go. The next task is to clean the biosafety waste traps. First, she is going to release the vacuum pressure from the biosafety waste trap by clicking on the aspirator. Next, she's going to go down and unscrew the top of the biosafety waste trap from the base of it. If this is absolutely impossible, you may not have released the vacuum appropriately. So make sure that you release that vacuum with the aspirator before. Next, she's going to grab the container that we're going to pour our waste in because you don't want to put bleach in that original one. Next, she is going to transfer the contents of that aspirator jar into the biohazardous waste jar. Next, she's going to grab pure bleach and dump about this much into the biohazardous container. If you're unsure of how much to dump, you can always do more, it won't hurt. Next, she swirls it around a little bit to mix it and puts it in the sink for about 45 minutes to an hour to sit. And lastly, she's just cleaning out that aspirator jar with some water from the sink. And then she's going to go back and reattach the aspirator jar. To reattach that jar, she's just going to screw on that lid. And then once it's secured, she should be good to go. Next, we're going to grab the other aspiration tank from the microscope room. Please check this sign and make sure that nobody is running an experiment and the lights need to be off. First, she's going to go to the biohood, open the sash, and then make sure that this vacuum is off. So that is the off position. She's going to release vacuum like she did for the last one and pull the top off of this Erlenmeyer flask. It's a little hard to remove, so don't worry if it takes some force to get it off. Next, she is just emptying the contents of that into the same biohazardous waste container we had earlier, and then cleaning out the Erlenmeyer flask, and then reattaching this tube and the top of it. Make sure that you secure it so that way it can pull vacuum. The next thing that we need to do is fill all of the chemical bottles. So the first one that we are going to fill is the bleach. We want to do 10% bleach. So she is going to fill up about 100 milliliters in this graduated cylinder and then fill the rest with DI water. Again, you can use a different graduated cylinder, but just make sure that the bleach is 10% of the overall solution. There should be two squirt bottles for bleach, so just make sure that you fill up both of them. Even if you have to make extra bleach solution, that's completely fine. Finally, she is going to rinse that graduated cylinder out and hang it to dry. The next solution that we are going to prepare is the soap solution. She's going to grab this container from the bottom of the cabinet and fill this bottle with about 10% soap. You can just eye this one and fill up the rest with DI water. Next, you're going to clear anything that's in the sink, including this biohazardous waste. Once it's sat for about an hour, she's going to put the biohazardous waste container back under the biohood and make sure that you do not screw the cap on that biohazardous waste container so that it does not smell bad later. Next, you are going to want to check the regulators for both of the gas cylinders. There's one in the main lab and one in the microscope room. And you want to make sure that this black hand is not below the line that says replace. If it is, please let somebody know so that our cells survive the weekend. Next, we are going to fill the DI water dewar by placing this tube in there, turning the knob, and then waiting for it to fill up. Once it is filled, please remove the tube. Finally, we're going to take out the trash. These are all the trashes around the lab that you need to take out. There are 3 of them. We're going to take the trash down the hall to this location in front of these trash cans. Once you're done taking out the trash, please replace all of the trash bags. They are on the LSU cart. Finally, before you leave, make sure you turn off all important equipment. Make sure that the covers on the DMI-8, the fluorescence box is turned off, the syringe pumps are turned off, and then the power strip in the back is turned off as well. Please also make sure that the plate reader is turned off and any other equipment that you might see on around the lab. This is just a short time lapse of other things around the lab that you should make sure are turned off for the weekend. So this includes hot plates, the plasma bonder, centrifuges, the autoclave, basically anything that is left on, we want to make sure is turned off. Just make sure that nobody is actively running an experiment or has anything on the hot plate before you turn it off. If you notice we're low on anything, please fill out this sheet for stuff we need to replace. It will take us 2 to 3 weeks to replace the ethanol, so especially that reagent we need to know.